Nice mic. Okay, I'm glad it's working. I'm struggling a little bit with my laptop fan being extremely loud. So, but I think I found a decent mic position over here. But to the action here, we have small Tourneys AOE 2 Gold League final here. That's great. Great to hear, Pon. This is between Full Sender and Chuggles. Full Sender, the winner of the winner's bracket. Chuggles, the winner of the loser's bracket. So it's been a double elimination tournament in the top section for small Tourneys AOE 2, which essentially was with an ELO cap at 1500 upon sign up. Let me bring up the scoreboard, by the way. I'll show you. Should be here now. And in the parentheses there, you see the player's current ELO. I checked it up right before going live. So, so that should be their current ELOs. So we see that Full Sender is past that 1500 mark, but it's been a long while since the sign up. So that players you can't really expect players not to improve during a couple of months of tournament progression, right? So this is the 1300 to 1500 ELO bracket, the gold division of small Tourneys AOE2. A Discord that caters to the, what should we say, mid ELO players with tournaments for different brackets for different levels. And we've reached the final. It is a best of 7, but this is the first game. But since Full Sender won the winner's bracket in the Gold League, he gets a head start of 1-0 for the final. So this should be an interesting development to see. It's a bit of a setback for Chuggles to start being down 1-0. But that's not to say that Chuggles can win this one and even it out. So I'm looking forward to what we're seeing here. First game, always Arabia, our beloved open map around here with new Arabia generation and few patches back with smaller woodlands, more open generation. I love that. And let's talk a little bit about the civilizations here. We have Chuggles with the Berbers for Arabia 1-1. I neither love nor hate that. Berbers, great mobility. They are cavalry units, stable units. They get cheaper in the cast age, 15% cheaper, 20% cheaper in Imperial Age. However, they lack Paladin. So long-term cavalry play for Berbers could be a struggle for the very late imp game, but then again they'd have camel archers from their castle to counter enemy mounted units as well. But considering we're up against Britons here for Full Sender, which is usually a high tier 1v1 Arabia Civ, lacking Paladin isn't necessarily that much of a setback when you have the ability to mass them cheaper like Berbers do. I like the matchup here. Early cast age, I think I favor Berbers, even though the Britons have range and can outrange Mangonels. If you're up against masked knights with a +2 armor, that could be tough for an archer civilization relying heavily on archers play and thereof having less mobility overall. What would be common for Britons though is to open up with some kind of infantry opening to delay the opponent's progress a little bit. You don't want to allow any straight fast castle build for your opponent on any map, especially not on Arabia. So I'm expecting Britons to see not straight archers here, but go into either a Drush, Dark Age Rush with militia, and to buy time to wall off and get to the cast age, or a men-at-arms opening, which has the potential for higher damage output on the enemy's side. And for Britons, maybe Drush Fast Castle makes more sense, because you'd want to get to cast age where your archery range units, or rather the crossbows, can get that +1 range instantly, follow up with another +1 in the Imperial Age. So, but here comes the barracks. It does suggest a man-at-arms build after all now. Building the barracks at 20 population means that Full Sender wants to go up at 21 or 22 population here most likely, and take into the man-at-arms and try to deal some nice and early damage on Chuggles to delay Chuggles cast age and thereby delay any knights production. So nice and early walls for Chuggles, though I don't quite understand this decision here. Maybe going for a bit of a more local approach. Yeah, walling in towards the TC here. Alright, it's the economic approach, alright. Might be suspecting, looking at the walling here at the berries, must suggests that Chuggles has some idea of what's coming their direction. Scout is here, has taken some severe hits from the NVTC. And what are we looking at here? I think I saw some orange villagers moving forward. No, they were just going for the woodline, so never mind. As I said, the barracks is up. It's not really producing, so maybe it's a full. Maybe it is indeed a straight archers build from full center here. Going with 2 on gold, going up at 22 pop. Now here we go. Here come the militia. Simply a little bit late to the militia production, so it's definitely not a rush. We are 50% feudal age. We'll be seeing some militia moving forward. Going to be men at arms. And looking at the walls here, the men-at-arms shouldn't really be accomplishing much here for full center. Because Chuggles has the walls in place here, dropping even a barracks as well, preparing for those opening scouts, which will have free passage on this side of full center. So full center will have to rely on quick walls against Chuggles' inevitable forward here. Let's have a look at full center scouting. Maybe thinking that it's still open on this side. Here comes the stable for Chuggles going into the scouts, and uptime is very similar here, although Chuggles goes up with less villagers. Suggesting that Chuggles may have had a slightly bit more idle time going up because full center was just so close, even with 1 more population going up here. Men-at-arms on the way, 3 angry housewives now on the move, soon to be upgraded to desperate housewives here. Exclamation mark housewives to see the, or is it angry housewives? To see the explanation for that term. And we have the snow men-at-arms on the move. Love that mod. So you'd argue that this investment on 100 food, 40 gold for men-at-arms, only to have them hitting walls like this, is not really worth it, but still it idles up 1 villager of Chuggles here. It buys for some time for Chuggles forward to enter your side. We see the walls going up here, but it's not complete on full center side, so the scouts will gather up over here, and full center will need to go into some spearmen for defensive purposes here. Scouts production takes it toll on the food economy though, and Chuggles seem to have a little bit of idle time at home here. Only 5 on food, surprisingly. 2 on berries and 3 on farms. That's hardly viable for a scout's investment here. Here comes the range even for Chuggles. Not too uncommon to see a range being added for players going for the scouts opening, because if you complement your scouts with skirmishers, you'll have a beautiful answer to Britain's archers, feudal age archers in the skirmishers, and the skirmishers will also deal some bonus damage to spearmen, so you could use your own skirmishers to counter enemy spearmen going on against up against your scouts. Here's full center moving around the army a little bit here, tries to break in again, forces some repairs on the back side here. It's always dangerous to fix the gates like this, but note that the gate is locked, so this villager, while repairing, will not accidentally open this gate and allow the units to enter. Blacksmith going up for Chuggles as well, full walled now, has access to the main gold, so it's certainly set up decently for a faster cast age here, as opposed to the Britain's player committing lots of wood and gold into double ranges on the other side here. Looking at the bases here as well, Chuggles with the walls, very local walls, not investing much wood into it here. Very exposed wood lines to archers range, at least on the south side here. North side a little bit better, but you could still camp the archers in here. And the main gold for now is okay for Chuggles, but I think a defensive tower, preemptive defensive tower will be needed here. Castle times will not be great though, delaying a lot of farming for both of them. Yes, indeed. When you have to invest food and wood into skirms, or in the Britain's case, wood into archers' masses and spearmen, that delays your farming, again delaying your food income for Castle Age. And look at this, it's 32 villagers total for Chuggles here. Still having to commit a couple of villagers to household behind to make sure the men-at-arms, snow men-at-arms don't get in here. Scouts of Juggles not really accomplishing much on this side. Great spear defense on Full Sender. Then again, you have to commend Juggles for not over-investing into the Scouts. I think I saw two, yeah, the initial Scout was very weak, so this is two more. I did only two Scouts, I think, and then Skirms. And no upgrades though, and Full Sender has fletching here with the 6 archers. With a little bit of micro here, you could take that fight comfortably, I think. Yep. Six archers with fletching moving forward, but we have 3 defensive skirms here for Juggles, going into fletching and not the defense here. I'm guessing Juggles wants to preserve the foods as best as he can, not going into the defense upgrade for the skirms, but rather going for the attack because it's less costly on the food. Could be a call to try and reach that gas stage a bit quicker, but in general, I'd say that defense upgrade is more worthwhile to skirms than attack. And here's the defense in as well. So now with 3 fully upgraded skirms chasing these archers with only fetching, should be looking at some great fights to take here. So I like the defensive play of Juggles so far, although that does mean that Full Sender gets sort of a free boom and build up at home as well. But from the looks of the farm eco, we should be seeing, potentially be seeing Juggles going earlier to the cast stage here. Uh-oh. House finally goes down for Juggles, so the perimeter has been breached. That is unfortunate news for Juggles here. I'm not sure the even at arms will accomplish too much though. I believe this is standard Arabia. Yes. But idling the woodland here, so some great value after all from this small army forward for Full Sender. The skirms and scouts will deal with these ones nicely in the end, but look at how many hits the skirms need to take out a snowman here. Very weak villager, careful here, but Full Sender isn't really microing and looking at it. Some serious idle time cost here though, so absolutely worth it for Full Sender, and Juggles is preparing the house wall to close the gap here. Both players on the way to the cast stage. As suspected, Juggles will be up earlier, going for triple stables here. And from the looks of it, we'll be able to get those Night Summers out rather quickly here. Bloodlines on the way. Let's see if Scale Barding armor is in as well. It is. You want to rush that +2 armor once you get to the cast stage when you're up against Archer's masses. And looking at Full Sender's military here, you really need that +2 defense for Juggles here, or some forward siege to take justifiable fights here against this mass of archers, soon to be crossbows for the Britain's player. So we have cast stage in. Let's see if all 3 stables will put. I see. 1 stable committed to husbandry upgrade, and yeah, now 3 stables. Burger's cavalry is also 15% cheaper, so you have an easier time going with triple stables than any other knight save would do. And from the looks of it, it's going to be a 1 TC all in for Juggles, and we'll see what Full Sender does. Full Sender has wood enough for at least 1 more TC, maybe 2 for Britons here, but when you're subject to this kind of pressure, you don't necessarily want to commit to more TCs right away, even being Britons with the cheaper TCs. You really need your resources for army. As stable is going up here, I'm assuming that's against the skirms, so Full Sender wants to go into some knights of its own here, and that has to be against the skirms here, but I don't really see how that applies, as Werewolves have camels, cheaper camels as well. If the Britain's player chooses to add a very weak Britain's knights here to deal with the skirms, you'll just be hunted down by enemy units here. Military numbers increasing for Chuggles now, up to 11 total. Knights and Skirm can be dangerously strong against any kind of civilization these days, because you have the skirmishers to counter enemy archers or spearmen, and then your knights could handle the rest. So we see for, let's see, up Chuggles here, the +2 is in, of course. You want that +2 defense for your knights as early as possible when you're up against enemy crossbow masses. Chuggles will be needing more knights before engaging here though. I don't think 8 knights with 1 week in the mix is enough here to deal with this. No ballistics for the Britain's player though, and no thumbering obviously either, so the archers will be kind of inaccurate, but this is a fight I feel Chuggles shouldn't be taking yet. Backs off here, waits for more units to enter. We have 2 stables consistently producing here for Chuggles, and food income seems decent. Let's look at the number of miners here. 11, 12 gold miners total. Still engaging with questionable number of knights here though, getting kind of a surround here, but yeah, it might or might not be enough. Full Sender is trying to take the choke point here, and then Chuggles can't really comfortably engage. We'll need to back off again. And the KD is in Full Sender's favor here right now, 21 to 18. Population vastly higher for Full Sender as well, but that's mainly built to. Look at the village accounts, they're pretty similar here. These archers need to do some target practice though. So let's have a little look at the eco upgrades here. Wheelbarrow is in, and as is Horse Collar. And let's have a look at Full Sender as well, just for the reference here to see how the eco development is. Second TC is up. It's a good one, I guess, on the wood line there. You do securing the wood, having a garrison point for your villagers if you're subject to any kind of ranged forward here. I want to see the eco upgrades of Full Sender as well. We have Wheelbarrow and Horse Collar, so. But here's a good engagement by Chuggles, taking out lots of crossbows here, and now shifting the KD in their favor. 51, 51, 30 to 14 military, but the knights with 120 HP against the crossbowsmen of 35 are still kind of winning the hit points engagement here. Looks like Chuggles wants to go for a surround now, not wanting to give Full Sender the kill bonus here. Also, still no university for Full Sender here. 3 rangers are up. Here comes the barracks as well, so going to look into those pikemen now. Why not monks though? I think you could justify some monks behind all of this, even though it's a significant amass of knights. If you had a couple of monks behind the walls here now, at least you could chase some knights away, as Chuggles takes another great engagement and kills away all of the archers here. So Chuggles is apparently not worried about choke points here, just engages against the archers with these masses of Berber's Knight, now with +1 attack as well. Trying for a break in and a bit of surround here, forcing some quick walls. Lots of things to attend to all at once now for Full Sender, as Chuggles has extended to a second TC as well. Military numbers pretty similar. Full Sender with a slight villager lead here, being earlier to the second TC. This is a very ballsy TC though, with all of these knights on the field. Oh no, no! I think Full Sender deleted that in time. That seemed awfully risky. Just a couple of hits for the knights there of Chuggles and the TC would be going down. But we're inside now with 5 knights for Chuggles inside Full Sender's base. Pikeman, no upgrades just yet, so actually with the sheer number of knights here now, Chuggles could still engage. It's not ideal. Knights plus monks plus siege is so strong these days. Yeah, exactly. You can't rely on knights exclusively. It's great against the archers, but once pikes are on the field, you'll struggle. But if Chuggles adds a forward siege workshop now and has some scorpions in the mix, there's not much the archers and pikes can do. I look at this constant annoyance, though, splitting up the knights here and there, trying for raids at multiple areas, and Yeah, looking tough for Fruit Center here. It struggles with 72 to 44 KD now and hasn't been touched at home since the very first. Oh, but look at the sneaky raid! how did this guy get in? Interesting. 65 to 61 villagers. It's 2 TCs for 3 TCs now for Struggles actually. So extending the track as well. I have the current rating of the players in the parentheses up here. And now Full Center is exploiting the fact that Chuggles doesn't really have a good answer to pikes at this point. There is the range, but there aren't really any skirmishers on the field right now. Well, it's weird that command doesn't work. Hold on. Hello there, DWE Dry TV. Sorry, the command that didn't work. I linked the bracket just above. What's up? Thanks for sending. Just having fun now. I've been following the small Tourneys AOE the whole way since I was playing myself in the gold division. So I'm kind of just following up that and getting to see the finals here. So we're looking at the best of 7 here, and to repeat, Full Sender is at 1-0, even though this is the first game, because Full Sender was the winner of the winners bracket of the gold division. Military numbers increasing for Full Sender though, has been doing some decent defense here, going into the pikes. Struggles really needs a response to the pikes, needs some siege or yeah, some scorpions or some skirmishers even to deal with the enemy pikes here. It's not, even with the cheap knights of Berbers, it's just not justifiable to go only knights. Almost enough channel points for Song on Horn. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll see what we can do about that. $49 to $19 right now, Full Center with a mix of pikes. Still no upgrades on the pikes though, but numbers matter as well. Struggles gets to send some raids in here though. Can you show how many stables Struggles has? Yes. I think we're still on 3 stables unless there's something forward here. Actually no forward production at all for Sender for Struggles here. And some villagers forward now, probably looking to drop some siege, even a castle. What castle with 4 villagers? Struggles, what are you doing? There's army here. This is Full Center is on my team for Palms Tourney. Oh, cool. Yeah, he's a very solid player. His gold division winners final was an interesting watch as well. He did a solid showing there. The castle actually will go up, Full Center down to 13 military, and the exclusive knights with a little bit of skirms all in works out for Struggles here. Breaks it to a 1-1 after the first match and takes Full Center on the first game over Arabia. We'll be going to Full Center's home map next. So let's look at the stats here before moving on. So Struggles, unsurprisingly, with military high here. Largest army, not so much, but strongest army indeed in the almost exclusively knights there. There's no men at arm icon, I love it. KD 164 to 70, so that takes a toll on Full Center's already inferior eco here to Struggles. Multiple TC boom, 3 TCs. We go with the Aptos as well. Earlier farms investment for Struggles after all does mean that the castle age is a bit more smooth as well. And ends with a villager high, so Full Center probably feels a bit forced back, was not really in an any position to get to the Imperial Age or anything to get to that extra +1 range for the arms, and wasn't able to stop this forward castle either, and you don't easily deal with forward castles in the Castle Age. So that's it. Let's go back to the draft for a bit and cross out the spent civs. We have Britons used. Oh, it works like this. Cool. Berbers winning, Britons losing. That's it. Let's see if there are. Here we go. New lobby ID. Let's see if we can find out what the next map will be. For full center, it will be either Acropolis or Four Lakes, and it's. Wait. Hold on. Loser of game one's map pick, and yeah, yes, Acropolis or Four Lakes. So it's going to should be either of those, not Serengeti, unless they're going with winner's home map here. Let's see what the next map brings. I have to update the score as well. We're having struggles now with one taking the first game here. They may or may not have launched. You know what? I'm actually going to reboot my game just to eliminate any glitches in terms of spectating and everything. What is the song request about? It's about me. Making use of my profession in stream. Like that. It's not like I can play anything though. It's just a bit of a fun addition to my stream with a lot of channel points just to have a thingy. But I should still be able to pick up simple melodies. Usually I read sheet music, so I basically I can read anything and practice it, but taking things by ear, it's a bit tougher, obviously. So I added it mainly for fun, but I'll try to comply any requests if I get them. Let's try and search for the players again. There it is. Why doesn't lobby ID work? It looks like they're doing winner's home map because looking at the stats here, Oh no, never mind. I'm messing up. I thought it was Chuggles posting this. So I have to fix that command. It's Serengeti for full sender, and I'm gonna assume he goes for hunts for Serengeti actually, but let's see. Ooh, Lithuanians. Alright, let's go for game 2 between these players. It says 1-1 because this is the grand final, and Full Sender being the winner of the Gold Division winners bracket, he gets to start 1-0 in the grand finals. He's picked Lithuanians for this one. This is Full Sender's home map. And yeah, I gotta say, I love Lithuanians for Serengeti. You have lots of extra hunt to be taken, but you don't really need that for a smooth scout opening with Lithuanians, because you start with plus 150 food. You could even go into the instant rush, drop a barracks straight away and go forward and try to obstruct the enemy taking hunt or whatever, but doesn't look like that's the play for Full Sender. He wants to go and play it a little bit more safe, I guess, with the smooth, quick scouts opening here. But I like the Lithuanians pick, some of the strongest knights into paladins in the game, and also strong trash against whatever the opponent would bring to the field. Let's look at Chuggles' side here with the Khmer for this one. Also a great mobile civ with lots of options. You have the elephants and the siege scorpions to go for, but you also have a smoother transition through the ages as Khmer. So you could justify real early scouts opening for Khmer as well, because you don't need to build your barracks before building a stable, so you could preserve a little bit of wood there and go into some early farms for more fluid scouts production, or go straight into 2 stables of scouts. You really want that barracks up as Khmer though, and not go too greedy, because you'll probably expect the Lithuanians opponent to go for scouts themselves, and then you need something more than scouts of your own. You want spearmen to defend as well. I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit here to make sure I am live. I shouldn't be too far behind. It can't have been too long ago since they launched. Full Sender now on the move to scout the opponent, whereas Chuggles is staying at home for a little while longer. May have been pushing in some hunt or something here. Trying at least. What do you think about nerfed Khmer farms? I haven't noticed it that much. It went from 5% faster to 5% to 3% or something, or it's not enough of a nerf for Khmer. I think Khmer should lose something more, honestly, for it to be considered a nerf. But actually, for the early game food income, it's noticeable in my opinion, but not too obstructing in any way. It just makes the food income a little bit less smooth. I didn't know I was this far behind. Sorry about that. Really fuel age. Maybe just slow down a bit now. They're pretty much cavalry civ only. Well, Khmer have that great siege in the Scorpions as well, and siege rank, so I'd say they're a siege civ as well. But they are not a go-to on water maps, and they're also absolutely not an infantry civ. So I guess you're kind of right. You always see Khmer playing the cavalry role with elephants and those kinds of things. And Scorpions, of course, being situational, it works better in say Black Forest with the choke points. How many times do you really use them effectively, Scorps? In 1v1s maybe not that often, but in team games it's a different story when you have trade and everything. But let's yeah, you're probably right, Satari, that that Khmer is very streamlined towards being a cavalry civ, which is interesting because they're classified as a siege and elephant civilization. 3 scouts now forward from 4 actually from Full Sender, going to be extremely annoying here. We see that Chuggles has the barracks up and is also on the forward here with some scouts not really working out perfectly on Full Sender's side here. This is Full Sunder's home map after all, must certainly have a plan. Here come some defensive spears to deal with these scouts, and Juggles using the advantage of being Khmer here to garrison inside the houses. So that's a good call for Serengeti to go into, to make use of that sim bonus, after all, that you could garrison into the houses to save villagers' lives. But look at all this idle time caused by Full Sender on Juggles' side already. It's 2 villagers down for Juggles, and food eco looks a lot more healthy for Full Sender here as well. And you can see Full Sender is with 10 on food, not on gold just yet. They're both playing the Scouts style play here. And Juggles trying to wall off here, but does not have any spearman support on this side, so this could be hurtful as Full Sender is looping around. Might get a villager kill here now, actually. That has to be a villager kill right there. What? We need to look at the HP bars here, man. Go up. Oh, there we go. There it is. I was almost worried Full Sender wouldn't get that. But look at the villager count now. It's 33 to 29 now. We have 4 villagers lead for Full Sender. And we also have a lot more farms down here on this side. 14 farms. Not going to gold just yet, but now tasking 6, 7, 8 villagers to gold. It's going to boost the gold income in no time, and with 14 farms and no current army production, Full Sender is going to look at that Castle Age uplick in not too long here. Where's Juggles? Decent food eco as well, 7 on food now, 8 on food, that should be farms only, going with 9 on gold as well. Full Sender still not on berries. Well, it's the infamous berry wall over here. Why take them? You start with extra food on as Lithuanians. May as well just use the excess food to wall off your base and not risk any holes. Must have taken the hunt though. All of the hunt. Milled the hunt. All of Full Sender's hunt was down there. I mean all of it, like ostriches and deer and everything. So with that mill, it's just given lots of value. 3 free layers of wall, pretty much. Yeah. So of course it's like 800 food lost, but nothing's to stop you from TCing it later and collecting the berries and the stones at that point. Saving some farms for later. Next level high IQ play here from Full Sender. So I'd love to see Juggles adding some houses over here as well, just for protection, considering that the base is not entirely walled here. Could then garrison in these houses, right, if the gold gets hit, but on the woodline here it's still kind of exposed. Lithuanians are sick with that extra food. I agree, it's so much smoother to go through the feudal and castle ages with the Lithuanians. So we're at 24% against 12% lead for Full Sender up to the next age. Roughly same villager counts here. Juggles with the military, that has to be the spearman at home here, and going into another barracks. So Juggle is going to play it quite defensively here now, going into those spears, pike, maybe thinking about a pike and siege push here. I mean, this forward production here, it's acting like a wall, these stables and everything, but they're also very subject to forward pushes by enemy pressure. Maybe not full siege against the cavalry sieve like Lithuanians, but it's still walling off like this could easily be punished. Could even go for some towers on these resources here to obstruct Full Sender's eco here, because yes, he has 2 goals within the within the walls here, but they're also within towers or archers range here. Does Full Sender have wheel? Let's have a look. I'm gonna look at. Okay, so Juggles does not, whereas Full Sender has Wheelbarrow. That's pretty huge actually. So 16 farms with Wheelbarrow for Full Sender, and where, of course, with the constant drop-off, Wheelbarrow isn't that big of a deal, but it still affects your lumberjacks and gold and stone miners and everything in terms of the resource collection rate and the working speed. After all, yeah, full pikes for Juggles for now. Ask Khmer. 3 stables producing pikemen here now. No upgrades, but now moving forward, found an opening here and it's just going to. Oh! How is that a hole? Yeah, I agree. The Ice Wearing Man. I'm not sure if. I mean, Mongols weren't in the draft at all, from what I can see. Let me add a draft command actually. I'll just leave it on view lock here for a little moment to on a view lock here as I add the draft command, because that could be useful for anyone to have. That's the most hidden hole I've ever seen. Ah. Finally, there's the draft, guys. Have a look and we'll remove the view lock. Full pikes from Juggles, still no upgrades on them. Here's the defensive siege workshop for Full Sender. Surprisingly going into siege and not into a couple of ranges and skirmishers here, which Lithuanians could do with their faster moving trash. Obviously, the Lithuanians, even with +2, doesn't stand a chance against huge masses of pikes here. A bit of an unconventional play from Khmer to go full infantry like this, but it seems to work out as well to push with pikemen only on Full Sender's side here, because at the moment Full Sender doesn't have any response. Here come the Scorpions. That will certainly assist in the defense here. So many as well. We have 24 military fort Juggles now, and it is mainly pikemen. Here comes a forward builder as well. Let's see what she's up to. We got a conversion here somewhere. Full Sender still not on skirms, only relying on Scorpions here, but Juggles adding a forward siege as well. So adding Mangonel or Scorpions or whatever here is going to be quite useful now with this mass of pikemen here, and maybe even rams actually to break down production, because all of the army production of Full Sender is in front here. This is a fantastic way for Juggles to spam infantry like this, because it puts Full Sender on the back foot here, and it's second TC going up for Juggles just now. We see the builder numbers here are uneven, considering that Juggles has been on 1 TC only for a while. But this kind of pike push forces a reaction from Full Sender, buying Juggles a lot of time to get that Khmer boom kicking in at home. I would die in 2 minutes from fear. Yeah, same with me. I hate when people go full pikes like this when I am a cavalry civilization. See Full Sender adding the 3rd TC as well, so it's going to set up for the long game here to get some defense against the infantry fort as well. Pikemen won't take out TCs on their own. One Mangonel goes down for free there, it's unprotected by Juggles. A bit of a lapse in attention there to let that go down this easily. And looks like Full Sender wants to try and collect some relics here. Is not going to be allowed to do so easily. Has 1 relic though, so that's +1 attack for Full Sender's knights here. Good raids from the Chinese player now in the enemy base, getting at least a few villagers here, but so actually extending the villager lead that Full Sender already has, to some extent has stabilized at home as well, because Chuggles needs to react to the aggression at home. Some pikes at ready at home as well though. Chuggles with 39 military, a deceiving number considering that that is mainly trash. Something you would actually suspect the Lithuanians to go into trash units to complement whatever they're doing, because their trash moves faster. You'd even argue that Full Sender could make pikeman of his own here and still contest Chuggles, because his pikeman move faster. 4 Scorpions, now getting some great hits on the forward units here, but oh! Only 1 Scorpion, so that's decent there for Full Sender to salvage 3 out of 4 Scorpions here, but now needs some cavalry of his own to deal with it. This Magnol and Chuggles does a good job at keeping the armies close here, sends the pikemen forward to exploit the fact that Scorpions have minimum range, and gets 3 easy Scorpion kills there. The KD should be pretty even here now, but Full Sender is still mainly on the defensive here. Chuggles still only on 2 TCs, as we can see from the stone situation here. Villager count's not really evening out either. It's a 30 plus villagers lead for Full Sender here. Playing it defensively, but also holding on nicely here to preserve the base and extend the eco here. And if Full Sender can get to the Imperial Age first here, it's going to be strong switch of force here for Full Sender, because if you can get to those Cavaliers and even Paladins with Lithuanians here and with some relics to boost the attack, then Full Sender could even take justifiable fights against enemy pikemen. $30 on gold now for Full Sender. Has to be thinking about some more massive knight play here now, but seems to be investing mainly into villagers and boom still. Here comes the 3rd stable. And a little bit of defensive siege here, but with the Mangonel pushing, you can't just eject those Scorpions to deal with the infantry easily either. Get some nice hits in here now though. As you can see, the Scorpions shoot through and they deal damage to multiple units at once here. Chuggles about to lose another Mangonel here to enemy knights, and the mass of pikes being out of position here. Let's just look for what to do. Khmer even get squires? They don't actually, so that's why the pikes seem so slow here. So that's not ideal when you use pikes to support your units and to chase down enemy cavalry, or siege for that matter, because your infantry without squires moves a little bit slower. Now tries for a break in here though. Could be that Chuggles wants to send all the pikes into raid here, because then Full Sender will be needing some serious defensive measures to deal with pikes inside the base. Knights aren't going to cut it here. General production tab though, 3 triple stable knights for Full Sender here, has the +1 from the relic. Could still go into forging and blast furnace and iron forging, I mean, and then get +3 attack total. Pikes consistently out of position for Chuggles. Yes, indeed, and with their lack of speed, lacking squires, it's just getting a lot tougher to get back into it as well. I feel like Chuggles is a bit hesitant in the push here, doesn't really have the mobility in the combo, and this Mangonel really in danger of being sniped again. Here come 3 Knights of Full Sender. Good awareness from Full Sender there to see a lone Mangonel. I'm also wondering why Chuggles is so low on gold, because he's been consistently going for the pikes. Should mean that more gold is preserved for other kinds of production, but look at Full Sender now in with the raids here. This is going to be devastating for Chuggles here, already down by almost 50 villagers. Now what Full Sender should do is split Absolute's group a bit, forcing Chuggles to chase it in different directions with pikes here, and but look at this, we have 13 knights here with a +2 and +3 total. Did he collect more relics maybe? 2 relics now for Full Sender. Yes, 40 pikes and made 10 Mangonels at least. Yes, should have absolutely pushed more consistently with 2 or 3 Mangonels, maybe accompanied by 20-30 pikes, and there's not too much that Full Sender can do with the current production potential. Forcing so much idle time now though, and the villager numbers roughly similar here, but look at the villager count. Full Sender with a 40 villager lead here, going Imperial Age 50% up and consistent production, even going into crossbows now against the pikes. So that says something about Full Sender's economy here. It looks very healthy overall, so much resources in the bank, and with all opportunity in the world to go into upgrades for the knights into cavaliers and whatnot. Don't think Full Sender has scouted the relic in the section here. I'm surprised he didn't take this one, because that's so close to his base. It could have easily been secured by any monk here, but that doesn't seem to be a priority here. And Chuggles keeps insisting upon pikes and siege push here, and loses one Mangonel after the other, falling subject to raids on the home base as well. Yeah, you're probably right, the Ice Bear Mantis relics is over here. He may have lost a monk over here to pikes or siege or whatnot. But it still doesn't mean that now that Full Sender is back in control here, that he should really consider grabbing another one to make full advantage of the Lithuanian's bonus. Now on 2 relics, could easily get 3 here. Maybe even 4 if he scouts this area at some point. But the pressure in the game has shifted here. Full Sender is now the aggressor for sure here. He's splitting up the knights now for some very nice raids on the what you often see with Khmer that could farm anywhere, but as a result your eco will be very exposed to raids if you're not fully walled. 13 idols, 81 villagers here for Chuggles. Chuggles down to almost half of Full Sender's economy here. And look at the consistent production. I mean, if I were Chuggles here now, I would probably GG upon the enemy reaching Imperial Age, because I'm just so far away from clicking up myself. Just look at the food and gold here for Chuggles. Down in military as well. I think this game is over soon, with Cavalier even kicking in now, 12+3. Look at the militia! A little misclick in the heat of the moment there, I think. Adding some angry housewives near the end of the game. GG is called. Full Sender takes the home map and will be going to one of Chuggles' home maps next. So great defensive play from Full Sender to hold it back. Here Chuggles did indeed drop a castle. I missed that. So worked out the previous game, but this one is more of a troll than anything, I think, from Chuggles, because so much behind, down to half of the villagers of the enemy and down to half of the military as well. That's never a good sign. If that castle happened 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, it would be a different story, but 131 to 84 is the KD for Full Sender. Largest army roughly similar here. And then we have the economies here and the this kind of stuff. Uptime earlier for Lithuanians as expected with their starting food, very fluent and roughly similar to Castle Ages, but a stronger economy for Full Center with more farms and wheelbarrow in upon reaching Castle Age. 125 to 84 in the end here, and 2 relics seem to be enough for Full Center to close off the game for a 2-1 for Full Center. That means we're going into, hold on, Britons have been spent. Now Full Center wins with Lithuanians for his home map, and Chuggle has in return spent Khmer for this one. Uh oh, there we go. Now I need to update the maps command because that's reversed. Right, so now we're going to either Acropolis or Four Lakes, and Juggles with the Persians. If it's Four Lakes, I see Persians as a pick, and as for Acropolis, maybe Bulgarians or Bulgarians. Actually, they have a decent scouts opening and a good boom for expanding on the map and taking some map control. And you should of course never underestimate the boom potential of Slavs and Vikings either. But those could also be picks for Vikings is probably for Golden Pit for Juggles. So let's see if it's Acropolis now. I see Bulgarians for Juggles, potentially Slavs as well, but I'd hold pick for Bulgarians. And for Full Center's case, has to be Franks or Huns for Acropolis in my opinion. And if it's Four Lakes, we'll be seeing Persians and maybe I don't know, Malians. It's a great city. And Huns, I love Huns on Four Lakes as well with the food income, and it's so easy to sustain the fish boom and land boom and army production with Huns on Four Lakes because they never need to build houses, so that's a play as well. I think I will reboot again just for safety because it tends to get tough to find the proper games here. So we're gonna go to this lobby and reboot the game yet again. Four Lakes but no Japanese, huh? Yeah. Also peculiar not to see Japanese picked because that's a great counter sim to, for example, Persians on Four Lakes. Juggles. I just got insanely good food eco from fishing. In my opinion, the best 4-legs in. It's true, work rate of the Japanese fishing ship is insane for 4-legs. I feel like they lack a little bit of mobility though. I mean, you could play archers on 4-legs, obviously. It's one of the top tier picks by far. But still, with the Persians having faster working TCs and docks, it's just such a great boost for Persians all the way until the Imperial Age, where maybe Japanese will be favored a bit more with their stronger trash options. It's true, they have Bloodlines, and the Castle Age Cavalry is pretty good for Japanese. Yeah, can't argue there. They have fully upgraded knights in the Castle Age, and early Imperial, you could even justify Cavalier if you've been going heavily into the knights. Okay, so they may be having a little break here, because I can't really find the games. And here we go. I'm curious to see what it brings now. We have 4 lakes. It's Struggles home map. We have a bit of a spectator delay here that leaves time for me to add a sim command as well. And here we go. So we're in for the third game of this set between these two players. Gold Division Small Tourneys AOE Grand Final. Full Thunder started at 1-0 because he won the winners final, and that leaves us with 2-1 score in the entering the third game here. Of the set. Are we live? Yes, we are live. So this is Chuggle's home map, picking the most solid sim of all, in my opinion, for 4 legs with the Persians. Now Persians starts with extra food and wood. Town centers and docks have more hit points and they work faster from feudal cast and Imperial Ages onwards. It's just a crazy bonus when if you're into the booming business and want to get into multiple production. So we're slaughtering multiple sheep here. That's not going to matter too much because there's just so much food to be taken later on once you get the docks up here. Persians faster work rate and gets that especially food economy boost early on for 4 legs, given that there are 4 legs here with lots of deep fish to be taken, and assuming at least 2,000 food for free in each of these ponds, and the fishing ship investment is only 75 wood a piece, so you essentially be making some very efficient food income without needing to invest into farms and reseeding them. Now for full sender with somewhat of a counter sim here is the Malians. Malians, very versatile tech tree. They have good infantry, some of the strongest champions in the game, considering that they get extra pierce armor per age from starting in the feudal age. So you can actually use Malians champions to tank a lot of enemy archer fire. So if Chuggles goes for the Persian commander on unique tech and gets crossbows that only cost wood, Full Sender could effectively counter that with his champions if he wants to. But more notably for Malians, they have access to camels and knights. They get cavalier and they get heavy camel in the Imperial Age, and in the Imperial Age they also get a unique tech called Farimba, giving their cavalry units plus 4 attack, plus 4, plus 5, plus 5 attack. In exchange, of course, they are missing the last attack upgrade for the cavalry, but they have full armor and a total of 7 plus 7 attack for their light cab. If this game goes to late game, we might see Farimba in action here from the Malians player. But 4 Lakes is all about map control. You want to control your ponds because you have so much food to be accessed here. So you want to control at least 2, preferably 3 or all ponds. And you want to contest the enemy fishing at some point. So at some point, Full Sender will want to send one villager forward here, try and sneak up a dock maybe in the corner and start punishing Chuggles' fish boom. And the same goes for Chuggles on the opposite side. We should be seeing some water fighting on this map. Now looking at the villager counts, I think they are similar in the actual villagers here. Right, 16 for each, but it shows 17 to 16 for Chuggles because Chuggles is Persian and can get the docks up earlier with the starting wood. So first fishing ship out a bit early for Chuggles, again giving a boost to the food economy. Now with 11 on food against Full Sender's 12. Yeah, they're roughly similar here, but Full Sender was a bit slower to get up the dock. Actually with Malians, you also are in a position to get the dock up earlier because you save wood for all buildings, but I think Full Sender was just a bit hesitant in getting the dock up as opposed to Chuggles, who opted for an early one. Full Sender gets a pick off though, so it evens out these villager numbers here, 21 to 21 now, and that's one less villagers for Chuggles to bring in resources on land. So when docking like this, you want to either have loom so your enemy scout can't pick you off like that, or you quick wall in your villager in a way that they could both drop off food from the shorefish and not be subject to melee attack on land. So what's not too common on 4 Lakes, but which could absolutely be done from Alliance, is to drop a barracks and go for some feudal age aggression with men at arms. See, Chuggles isn't really fully walled here, at least not yet, committing a bit to the walling now. But looks like both players are going for kind of a fast castle approach here, given their population counts when clicking up. Chuggles clicks up at 27 population here, has loom, will need that for the walling in villager, obviously. And maybe looking at full walls by the time Full Sender can get up himself and go for some aggression. Here comes the barracks though, just upon clicking to the feudal age for Full Sender. Could be that they're both going for scouts here actually, because Full Sender hasn't gone to gold yet either. The food income on water certainly supports going to cavalry play, but whether that be in feudal age or castle age is a call you have to make when you see whether the opponent is going for the full walls or not. Chuggles is open in the end here, so I think Chuggles didn't actually scout this. maybe assuming that the wood line is complete here, and that could be very hurtful if full center goes for the scouts, with the richer population going up here. And again, not going to gold yet, so I think full center is actually going to go pretty heavily into scouts here. Not too uncommon on 4 lakes to see lots of scouts, because with the food eco on water to support it, and which is not easily raided, you could have a food eco supporting even double stable scouts early on in the fuel age. Look at the wood here for full center, actually in a position now to drop 2 stables once fuel age kicks in here. Or a stable and a blacksmith and go for the upgrades, also a potential choice here. Juggles gets the pick off of full sender's scout on the hill here though, so that does limit full sender's scouting and scouts attack potential here. Second dock and stable now going up for full sender. So full sender going into boom mode on water here. Has so much food working for him right now. Could easily justify 5 or 6 scouts now for some aggression potential. But Juggles, of course, is full wall over here. Aside from the corner here that... let's see if full sender knows this actually. He hasn't scouted this area. If he does, it's going to be huge, because then you could just float scouts in an army and make life a living hell for Juggles on the Persian side here. Juggle going for these scouts though, which absolutely makes sense against full sender, who is not opting for the full walls here. Just now going to gold, so not really stressing that cast age up click here either. So that's 1 scout almost down for nothing for full sender here. 3-3 in terms of military here. No pikes added for full sender just yet. Going into an angry housewife here. Could be a misclick maybe. I'm not sure if I see the application of militia here unless full sender wants to make some to break through enemy walls. Yeah, probably thought it was queuing as spearmen here. Full center with more military here, but in exchange Juggles is with more scouts. Let's have a look at the upgrades here. No upgrades for either of them, as full center gets severely housed here from committing into double dock, fish boom and army production and villager production on land. That's a lot to pay attention to while trying to get up to the next stage. But look at the gold here for full center now, getting quite close to that next age click. Scouts this side to see if Juggles is going for another pond as well, or lake rather, but that's not the case. Juggles going for the extended feudal here, lots of villagers on food though, more than twice that of full sender. And of course committing into more military here. I mean, with these numbers of knights you could easily focus down spearmen. Unless the spearmen have upgrades, they actually have the pierce armor there, but that doesn't really play in against melee units anyway. Full Persian scouts, double stable scouts for Juggles here, but the issue now being full center on the way up, committing to walls, committing heavily to walls in fact, and now only has a little section left to wall here. Hopefully Juggles acknowledges that on this side, that this may be the only entry point. If Juggles can deny these walls, then those 9 scouts on the field is going to be a big deal for full center to deal with. Attack upgrade is in for Juggles as well. That's going to make it a little bit easier to deal with the spearmen that don't have any attack upgrades, any upgrades at all here for full center. Now exploiting the heal bonus a bit as well maybe, and Juggles should be looking at an easy kill here, even against the counter unit. Yeah, 1 scout goes down, and full center tries for the quick walls here, keeps the scouts out to some extent, and for some reason Juggles is attacking 1 palisade here, maybe hoping for a sneak entry point. I don't think Juggles is paying attention over here right now. I've seen this somewhere already, says Satari. Yeah. I can see how you can relate. Bloodlines on the way for Chuggles, full center in the castle age, but is that... let's look at full center's economy again here now. It doesn't seem too affected here. I mean, if you add some camels now, which full center is doing, camels and spears, I don't see Chuggles scouts doing all that much here. No fighting on water as far as I can see either. Full center with the preemptive galley on the shoreline here just to make sure Chuggles can't dock in this area. And with camels on the field, Chuggles cannot really accomplish too much with scouts, pulls them back and could make use of them and switch them, turn them into light cavalry later for some better raiding approach, or just collect all the forces here and try and keep harassing the economy, forcing engagements of full center while waiting for the economy to be able to take up to the next age here. So lots of scouts taking some free hits here though, so doesn't look too pretty for Chuggles at the moment, but they are with equal villager numbers here. We have close to the castle age click for Chuggles though, but once the TC gets idle from researching the castle age, Chuggles is going to fall behind in villager numbers. Second dock is up for Chuggles, and with full center does have a scout over here, could be just moving around to, might get lucky and spot the fishing ships here actually. And meanwhile Chuggles is making the most of the forward scouts here to at least delay the second TC from going up for full center, who is now with a 4 villager lead. That's going to extend further as Chuggles is now only 20% up to the castle age. Both players with 2 docks, not really contesting each other's water control either. And in full center's favor in this case, already being in castle age, able to get gill nets as well if he didn't already. Not really. That's the economy upgrade essential for your fish income to make them collect the fish faster. So there's the second TC for full senders. It's going to be a 1 TC all in for Chuggles again here. Double docks though in a couple of ponds, and we are with 4 stables here now for Chuggles. Going to go heavily into the knights or camels playing the castle age here. 29 on food, 11, 13 on gold now. Still with some scouts alive as well, could almost justify the light cow upgrade here actually, and is also going to quick out full senders camels going forward here, so he won't be able to get any camel raids in here. +2 on the way for full senders, so that's going to make the camels stronger against whatever cavalry unit Chuggles brings to the field, but Chuggles going straight into camels of their own, and given the production, we have 4 stables against 3 here, so if Chuggles' economy can afford it, then Chuggles will be catching up in villager numbers here in no time. Villager numbers is worrying though. We have the huge fish boom for admittedly both players here, but in terms of land economy, full center has more going for them. Look at the scouting here, using that stray angry housewives to scout the north and see that the dock has gone up. That's obviously not going to be killed anytime soon, but that also sends an indication that, hey, I could drop a dock here myself and start contesting this area. Knights against knights, attack is in for Chuggles, only +1 defense though, but with +2 attack should still be able to contest the enemy camels to some extent. Just waiting for the numbers here to be able to engage. For now, Chuggles camels are in lower numbers than full senders. Here we go. None of the players are really taking the hill here, which could be useful for an engagement here. Looks like the second defense is paying off decently for full center. Would be looking at a lot worse fights with equal upgrades here, being outnumbered. But Chuggles now getting there in terms of villager numbers. We're at 23 to 16 now. Double, no, still only 3 stables for full center and 1 barracks. And the alarm bells may be ringing now, looking at the numbers rapidly increasing for Chuggles here. (27 to 21) military now. Chuggles splitting up the forces. I'm not sure that's the best idea right here with all these camels coming this way. We have let's see here. +2 attack, +1 defense, +1 attack, +2 defense. It's an interesting matchup here, but I think the defense is going to pay off more though for full center. Looks like an easy fight for full center to take here. And a bit of unfortunate run in there for Chuggles, splitting up the forces, trying for some raids to the north, but running into a huge heap of Malian camels. 15 against, yeah, roughly similar numbers here now, and full center chooses to back off in anticipation of the iron casting kicking in here. Going into war galley as well. So now we're going to see full center contesting Chuggles' pond here for real in the left hand side here. The galley is already out. Does Chuggles see this though? Sees nothing at all. So good call of full center to keep the galley at bay here for now. Just keep them hidden away. And now with three war galleys out to hit the fish eco and maybe even hit some of the land eco here. Meanwhile, this Chuggles kind of, I was going to say kind of winning on land here, but now actually with same upgrades but inferior numbers for Chuggles here now. Send some builders forward to a random lumber camp in the middle of nowhere here. And really struggles to get the appropriate numbers to take fights here. This is a bad fight for Chuggles, even though reinforcements come in. There's a little bit of a hill bonus for full sender, and as full sender is also contesting the pond to the left, Chuggles is overwhelmed, falling behind almost 30 villagers here and in military, and it's just such a tough one to take. Great Malians play here by full sender to take this game home against Persians who can be so strong on this map. So look at the stats here. Full center with the early cast stage certainly gains a head start in the economy here, going into multiple theses earlier, more villagers, 2 ponds slightly earlier as well, I believe, than Chuggles. Largest army in the end, and KD very positive for full center here. We have to note though that there is a bit of an elo discrepancy between the players. Full center has moved past that 1500 mark since the sign up and is now sitting at 1562 against 1477. Maybe not too significant here, but could be a bit of a skill gap still. And then look at that 5 minutes early cast stage, that's a huge spike of power right there. So that's going to be another one for full center. Let me update the score here. We will be going to another of Chuggles' home maps. Let me double check the rules here, while also rebooting the game for spectating purposes and finding the game. Let's see here. Now we're going into game. Unless full center has lost first year, yeah, never mind. So we're going to Chuggles' second home map, which will be... Was it Acropolis? I need to double check. It's Acropolis. Full center with the Malians victory for this one, and Chuggles with the Persians loss. Now if the number of civs used here is confusing, it's because that full center did get a head start of 1-0 upon starting this best of 7 set. And it's an unfortunate position for Chuggles as well, needing to win 3 games straight now to take the series home, but also not impossible. We still have 3 sieves to go, and 1 home up to go for Chuggles, then having to take home up from Full Center and the final game on Arabia, if that's the case. But we're going to Acropolis now for Chuggles of the given sieves. I'd actually put my money on Bulgarians for Chuggles for Acropolis here. Whereas for Full Center, I think it's going to be Huns and Franks, or Franks, I believe. You generally want the mobility on Acropolis to get to your enemy's hill and to take the fights with a bit of mobility. And Franks with the cheaper castles, good for map control. Huns not needing houses, but suffering a bit in terms of walling. But in the exchange, never needs to build houses, so it's a very good aggressive sim. Maybe it is Huns for Acropolis here. But let's boot up the game and see what's coming here. Here we go. We have Acropolis. Well, let's just dive into it, shall we? Bulgarians versus Huns. So my predictions were somewhat correct. We have a spec delay again, which is good. Let's edit the Zibs command here. Here we go. Acropolis is the map. This is Chuggles' second and last home up, I would say, for this set, as the potential final game is on Arabia again. So we have Bulgarians for Chuggles here. Sip with lots of mobility here. Hi, Ezol Smoldik. Nice to see you stopping by. Bulgarians, absolutely viable to open scouts. They are classified as an infantry and cavalry civilization, right? So your militia line gets instantly upgraded upon each age. So man-at-arms in feudal instantly, etc, etc. Cav archers is also a play for Bulgarians, which we could see as useful on Acropolis, with the mobility of cav archers to raid these exposed wood lines over here, which you will need to extend to eventually, right? And but against Huns though, which is the case for Full Center here, maybe you don't want to go with the almost fully upgraded Bulgarian cav archers. Huns, they get cheaper cav archers in Castle Age and Imperial Age, making them absolutely a full cavalry civilization. They have fully upgraded paladins as well, and they're actually missing the last armor for the cav archers, but given that they are cheaper, you still have an easy time massing them, never needing houses. They also have the Tarkans as the unique unit, as kind of a mounted siege unit in a sense, because they have a great bonus against buildings. So that has very situational uses, very high pierce armor on them. So if the opponent goes for example, cav archers, then maybe we can see Tarkans come into play here as well. And then for Bulgarians, in terms of taking map control, you have the Krepos, which is like a cheaper version of a castle. Cost roughly half the stone of a castle. Let's see. Can build Krepost. I'm gonna double check this Krepost thingy. It costs 350 stone, so 300 stone less than castle, has half the HP roughly, and you could create a unique unit from inside it. So that could be a good way to position on your hill as well, to take some map control or to gain control over the neutral golds and stones like around here. I don't love this map. It seems like all of the golds and stones and neutral ones are on the left hand side, so you won't really see much fighting on the right side. I think there's not much reason to expand here other than for wood income. So a bit of a one-sided map here with everything on the left hand side here for both players though, so it's not like it's any closer to either player. They both have stones and golds within a reasonable distance from their starting base. Quick fast forward, we're live, that's good. No significant idle time for either player here. Full Sender with a slight lead in terms of the villager production here, but that's also because Struggles did go into Loom here. Yeah, probably take Loom to avoid idle time from the TC in anticipation of any brought in hunt from pushing in the Ibex over here or whatnot. Full Sender not prioritizing pushing hunt for now, going for the scouting intel instead, suggesting that he wants to go for some kind of early aggression. On Acropolis, the berries are almost always forward, so you could actually justify going for a drush opening as well. But with hunts starting with less wood, a drush is kind of awkward because you start with 100 less wood. You need to collect wood before you can actually drop the barracks after dropping the mill and the lumber camp. But for Struggles, absolutely a drush or a pre-mill drush could be a player, even men at arms. Even though less mobile, the berries are forward, so you have some real damage potential on the enemy side if you choose to go for something like that. And we see Struggles scouting the enemy side just now. Stable about to go up for Full Sender. And is on the way to the Feudal Age as well. Capture Age, yeah, I know about Capture Age, but it's runs. I tried running it on my computer or my laptop, but it's when I'm recording or I'm probably streaming as well, it gets extremely laggy because Capture Age actually takes a lot of processing power. I'm not sure if I can use that unless I go into my back into my multiple laptop setup for casting, which I might consider doing, but the way Capture H looks right now, I don't think I'll be using it for casting, unfortunately. It's just so pixely in the graphics, and you don't have the small tree mod or anything. I don't think for now the in-game spectating feature is still the way to go. But I agree that those advanced stats are a real asset, though. Full Sender here is just about to reach the Feudal Age, a bit earlier than Chuggles, but Chuggles forward with 4 villagers here. And going for some kind of towers play here. 3 on stone, here come the militia as well. Men-at-Arms towers on Acropolis here. Interesting. There's the Feudal Age for Chuggles. 1 snowman on the way here, 3 total. And unfortunately for Chuggles, cannot really contest these stables going up here because of the town center being within range of it. That's a peculiar first tower though, downhill, but why not? So Battle Arms Towers and an extended fuelage for sure here for Chuggles, but Full Center going for the fuelage play as well with Hans here, and understandably so will have to deal with the opponent's pressure here. This tower kind of forces a reaction of Full Center here, so that means that the scouts will be severely delayed here. They will never really be able to hit Chuggles home base, but when you go for towers like this, you can commit heavily to stone as well. That means that it's going to be tougher to advance through the ages when you're in Chuggles' shoes here. 6 on stone, 6 on food, 6 on wood. Some nice scout blocks here from Full Center as well. But also good usage of Chuggles' men-at-arms here to not allow the scouts here to sit under the tower fire. So with the men-at-arm blocking the scout here, the tower was able to fire away at the scouts and deal some damage, and that's 3 scouts down for Full Center at least here. KD 3 to 8 here. Looks like Full Center has been losing some villagers as well. Villager count looking very healthy for Chuggles here now, so I think this forward is working out for Chuggles. Forcing some defensive towers as well. It's going to be the only one for Full Center for now, because both of the stones of Full Center are forward. And look how Chuggles is placing the man-at-arm here to make sure that Full Center can't easily just drop a mining camp and go for stone for defensive towers here. Tower protects the berries. I like that one for Full Center. Main priority maybe should have been the stones though, because now defensive tower is absolutely not an option for Full Center. That's the one and only tower he will get. And if Chuggles commits a little bit more units forward, like villagers or men-at-arms or whatever, could easily tear down this tower, and Full Center will never be able to drop any new ones. Where are these guys going on? Going to drop a lumber camp near the tower here, so going to have safe wood income for a while yet, Full Center here, but the towers are about to hit Full Center's farms. Going to idle some farm eco here and make resource collecting yet more awkward there. And look at these gold spots here. Both these golds can be denied by one tower by Chuggles. Fantastic tower here to deny farms, to deny this gold, and to some extent deny this gold as well. It's just a beautiful tower so far from Chuggles. Men-at-arms and towers here at work. Adding some spears as well, so that Full Center's scouts can not do anything here. It's a really well executed men-at-arms and towers play from Chuggles here. It is Chuggles' home map after all, and of course for Chuggles, no, for Full Center, having this kind of map is absolutely not ideal in the event of getting tower burst. Full Center is moving out now, has found some stone far off, and I bet Chuggles hasn't really scouted this area. So this could be the lifesaver for Full Center right here, to have some stone access, to get defensive towers up, and then you'll have to force Chuggles to scout and find where it's expanded to deny the stone from more defensive towers. Then again though, when you're forcing defensive towers of Full Center, you're forcing walking time for the villagers over here. You need to make them commit to collect stone, and that's 4 less villagers out of the 26 for Full Center to bring in resources. Hey! Thanks for the follow, Sam Saji. And, or thanks for the follow, thanks for the sub, I mean. So sorry. The thing about Capture Age is it gets really laggy on my computer anyway. When you run Age of Empires 2 DE and Capture Age at the same time, there's not much processing power left, and it looks very laggy and ugly on my screens. I'm considering setting up my old setup with 2 laptops to use one laptop dedicated for streaming. That should resolve the issue, but then again, Capture H as of now does not have the small trees mod, for example, and it has very pixely graphics, at least to my eye, so I don't love it the way it is currently. But as it is right now with my setup, unfortunately I can't use Capture H. Hey Magnolia, what's the tea today? We're casting small Tourneys AOE 2 gold final. Grand final of the gold division. So this is the 1300 to 1500 elo section, and we're currently looking at a 3-1 for full sender and playing Chuggles' home map. And a great set so far, and from the looks of it, Chuggles is with a very successful tower rush now, and also some great defense from full sender, of course. Migrating to a neutral stone to have stone for defensive towers, and yeah, all in all seems to have a decent food eco working here to be able to get some scouts out and maybe go for a very much needed counterattack now. Chuggles, however, already has the spear in place here, should limit scouts potential a little bit here. No upgrades whatsoever on Hans scouts here. Gets a little bit of hill advantage with the spearman here as well. And now will be forced to fight with villagers. So the scouts are kind of weak, so some builder losses will be taken here, but Chuggles with 37 to 34 here should be okay. There's towers everywhere here. I mean, this game isn't going to see Castle Age anytime soon. We are with 200 food-ish for Chuggles and 38 only for full sender, so still lots of the food eco idled here. Great defense, it has to be said though. But once this stone runs out, there's not going to be any more defensive buildings, towers for full sender either, because so much of the resources have been denied here. Hey, Mr. Sexy is in the chat as well. Nice to see more familiar names. I mean, I really have to commend Full Sender on not freaking out to the tower rush here, extending the farm eco, extending to neutral resources to be able to get some defensive towers up. And Chuggles now not really with any mobility, going for spears and men-at-arms here, should still be having very limited scouting intel here. See, very little intel on the neutral resources. I think it's time for Chuggles to pull back and realize that the forward has paid off here, and try and get to the next stage. But look at these 4 towers firing away at TC. They might, they will actually force repairs on Full Sender's TC here eventually for Full Sender to get to that next stage. Chuggles tries to send builders to batter down the defensive towers of Full Sender here. That's not really going to work because the tower placement is on point here for Full Sender. Nice emote, Magnolia. The angry housewife with a Christmas hat. Lord of the Rings, not only 2 towers. There we go. Maybe it's time to play the Lord of the Rings team. Lord of the Rings, the multiple towers. Blacksmith market going up for Mr. Full Sender here now. I was thinking it might mean a Castle Age trick, but that's preemptive buildings. I guess here, market for adjustment, blacksmith for upgrades. But the Castle Age trick should still be far away unless Full Sender plans to sell all of the stone here and try to get to that next stage. This tower is out of range though, the other one though, so I think Chuggles could contest this one. Meanwhile, we have some scouts forward again, but now spears in place for Chuggles on aggressive stance. It seems they're chasing after this dude. And I hope Full Sender is paying attention to the TC HP here, because this could be this could be really scary. Now archery ranges as well. What's Full Sender's plan here is going to be Castle Age Cav Archers here after all. Stone is running dangerously low for full sender, still some in the bank though. But as mentioned before, we're not going to see Castle Age anytime soon for Chuggles either. Still committing to the towers and being disturbed here by the... I actually thought some of them had fletching. It's only fletching for Chuggles here, so if this tower goes up, I believe it might range this one. Ouch. Forward villagers suffering a bit here. 48 to 45, but Chuggles has some forward villagers, so right now Full Sender, aside from the idle time, is in a better spot eco-wise here than the enemy here. So many towers though. We can't multiple sectors. 4, 8, 10 towers now for Chuggles around the enemy base. Stone at home has run out. There's still some stone in the back here for Chuggles, but here's collecting stone in the enemy base instead. What will Full Thunder do after hitting Castle Age eventually? Yeah, it's a good point as well. Even with Castle Age here, there aren't really many places to go. He's trying for some neutral gold here now, but if Chuggles is on point with the unit's army here now, I don't think Full Thunder is going to be allowed to peacefully mine this gold either. And nothing's to stop Chuggles from dropping even more towers, because there's still consistent stone income here for Chuggles. Means that if Full Sender goes for this gold, we just tower that gold, and we see stables going up as well. Look at Chuggles' resources here. It's it's more than enough to go to the next stage now, only missing the second building, and that's the stables here. So actually, all in all, it's going to be Chuggles reaching Castle Age first here. Oh, that's a YOLO tower if I've seen it. The Chuggles is going to stop that for sure. This one heroic woman here will not have any chance whatsoever to secure this gold. Imagine if he's already in Castle Age with all these resources slotted. Yes. So that's, but who hasn't forgotten to drop the buildings as needed to go up, right? Here comes Bloodlands and Scouts, going to be the Knights fall up once the Castle Age kicks in, and I don't really see Full Sender having any opportunity to fend this off in the long run in Feudal Age here, because it's not going to have access to gold. The tower might go up, but then we'll be seeing Knights added, maybe in Siege from Chuggles here, and this should be Chuggles' game to bring home. Full Sender did repair the TC here, so that's not going to go down to Tower Fire, but looking at the resources, so far off the next stage kick as well. Hey, El Valero, thanks for the raid, I appreciate it. I'm currently casting small Tourneys AOE 2 Gold Division Grand Finals. We're looking at a pretty messy game here with the Bulgarians player going all in with men-at-arms and towers, and not just a few towers here, just towers literally everywhere, denying golds and stones off Full Sender's side here. Whereas Full Sender is now forced to commit to full Feudal Age, and Chuggles about to reach the Castle Age. This is game number 4 in the set, actually. It shows 3-1, but that's because Full Sender started with a 1-0 lead, being the Gold Division winners bracket winner earlier on. But Chuggles reaching the Castle Age, there's no way back for Full Sender here. It's not nearly enough resources to click up. We 1 age behind, and with triple stables Knights production from Chuggles, there's just no way Full Sender can defend off this being in the Feudal Age. The Spring Calls mod is so nice. Yes, I like using that. I just kept it after it was introduced last spring. Chuggles takes their second home map here, and now we'll be going to Full Sender's home map next. Exclamation mark maps. Exclamation mark maps for the maps that players have picked. By the way, the raid alert, that's myself playing the horn. It's my profession really, freelance musician, and I had some fun recording some of the tunes and everything. So when you see in the channel points having a request to horn, it's just, yeah, if it's a simple melody I might be able to play it. It's more there for fun than for actual request. It's not like I can play anything, but just wanted to add it for a touch to my channel. Impressive to see the villager high similar between players. Granted, Chuggles is in the cast stage, but looking at all of these towers, this pressure from full center here, on full center, I mean, it's yeah, pretty darn decent defense from Mr. Full Center. Not so much army to speak of here, mainly just villagers and towers. Good old messy game here. Now for the next one, let's look at the draft actually. Now we're here, we have spent hunts for Full Center, for Acropolis, and Chuggles takes the win with Bulgarians. Let's see at the maps. I believe we have 2 home maps of Full Center left. Not 2 home maps, we have 1 home map, which for Full Center is Golden Pit. So Golden Pit is what we're going to see now. And then if Chuggles takes that one, the very last game will be taking place on Arabia again. So Golden Pit, I'm expecting Ethiopians versus Vikings for Golden Pit, but we'll see. We'll see. Could also be that they want to save the Archer Sibs for an eventual Arabia game to end it. But I'm saying Ethiopians Vikings for Golden Pit here. I'm going to reboot the game yet again, just to make sure I can find the game once they have launched. Oh, here we go. So we have a Golden Pit for the next game. Let's just dive into it. Should be a little bit of a spec delay maybe. We have Ethiopians versus Slavs for this one. Just a quick fast forward to catch up with the live here, and here we are. This is potentially a decider game, because if Full Sender takes this one, it's going to take the 4-2 and win the best of 7. This is Full Sender's home map, and it's gone with Ethiopians here for Golden Pit. And now let's just dive into and have a look at the map here. I love the map for Full Sender already. Has an easy wall off between the woodlines here. Berries in front, not ideal. Cows in front as well could potentially be stolen. I'm not sure if there's a 0 tolerance of laming in this tournament, I don't remember. But having 2 golds in the back is just beautiful. Even the stone here, it's great news. As opposed to the previous map on Acropolis, where Full Sender had all of his resources towered and denied early on. So I see potential for full walls here, maybe even a fast castle play for Ethiopian Serial, Drush fast castle maybe, something like that, men at arms. Now let's look at Chuggles' side. Overlay, indeed. Thanks for notifying. So Chuckle's side forward gold, always a nightmare having it in front there, subject to both infantry and archers damage from the opposing side. Stone a bit to the side, but obtainable should you need defensive towers or a castle later on for anything. Base looks more open than Full Sender's side, but you could still wall between the wood lines, shouldn't be too much of an issue here. The front side a little bit more open, maybe some local wallings like so or something. There's also a gold in the back here for Chuckles, so one gold in the back at least for Chuckles is going to make the early stages of the game a bit smoother. For Golden Pit though, it's all about the middle as the game moves on. This is where all the stones and golds are. If you have full control over the middle in the early late Castle Age, there's much to be done to stop you from winning the game, because eventually your opponent will run out of gold. And looking at this, Full Sender with 2 back golds can actually afford to play this a bit more defensively than Chuggles here having the forward gold. Chuggles would probably benefit from some early opening, and if they are scouting the enemy side here, looks like that's the plan. We'll probably see that a Drush opening would make most sense here. Maybe even a... well, it's too late for a pre-mill Drush, but I think if you go for the scouts here, slabs, you're already going to be too late to deal any damage on Full Sender's side, because the wall off is just too easy here. $16.16 in villagers, no significant difference in income here. A little bit more wood for Full Sender, as could be expected, having 1 more on wood. So only 3 on wood suggests to me that Chuggles actually might want to go for the scouts here, which is certainly a valid play as slabs, but you risk running into a full wall enemy here if Full Sender's scouting is on point at home, which I believe it should be. Very consistent scouting here around the base, and just now moving forward to see what Chuggles is up to. Well, if you see only 3 on wood, that's generally a good indication that your opponent is going for the scouts. Could be towers again as well, of course, but then again you'd see them going to stone quite soon. Loom on the way for Chuggles. Food income not quite there yet for the click up, I think, but once Loom is complete, it should be enough food to go to the next age. Full Sender getting valuable info, delaying a little bit of walling here, and will be likely be going for an infantry style opening as in, for their own. 3 militia in queue now before the fuel age up click actually, so it's going to be kind of a rush here from Full Sender. No, never mind. Getting Loom now, going to drop off some food and then go for them at arms, or maybe even just a straight to the next stage here. Straight for the archers, I mean. Here comes the barracks for Chuggles, well in time to complete by fuel age kicking in, and let's look at the food income as well. Wood, taking some stragglers now to make sure that the stables can indeed go up, but will Chuggles have enough wood here for the stables once the fuel age kicks in? Though it looks a bit tight here, having only 25% left to be sitting at 98 wood. 9 on wood now, though I think it should be okay. Angry Housewives in queue for Full Sender here, going to go forward with the men-at-arms and should be getting some value from that, considering that Chuggles has a way to go to be full walled yet. Here comes the stable, only one player building it, one villager building it for now. Full center completely aware here. Scouts on point, whereas Struggles knows the enemy location and actually lost the scout to enemy TC and missed that. So that's a bit of a setback, obviously. House or walling in progress here for Juggles, so maybe the forward or field center won't accomplish too much after all, unless they are able to get through here just in time though. Field center missed opportunity there to pass through the one and only hole near the TC. Probably wanted to dodge TC fire here, that's why field center kept going towards the edge here. Still going to force 2 villagers to complete this house and maybe some repairs as well, so a little bit of idle villager time cost there after all. 3 villagers now, not entirely working for Juggles. Struggles with the scouts out, doesn't really challenge full standard scout here though, and losing the initial scout means that there's only 2 military for Struggles just now. Quick walls being forced. It's fine until the archers can enter the field, but the range is up for full sender here. This is full sender's home map after all as well, must have some well thought through plan for this one for the Ethiopians. And even just a few archers forward now is going to make quick walling all that much harder against these men-at-arms. Clock is ticking for Juggles, but the scouts find their way into full sender space before full sender can. Full wall here, no full walled sender just yet. And scouts go back out again for Juggles here because of the defensive, well-positioned defensive spearman by full sender here. Juggles is going to scout around the base and look for some entry point elsewhere, but as mentioned in the early stages of this game, full sender has such an easy wall off of their whole side here. Couple of villagers now repairing the gate as 3 snowmen and scout cab are attacking this palisade gate. That's going to take its toll on the wood income of Juggles, and yeah, a bit of an annoyance there. Juggles with the villager lead though, having had less idle time overall. It seems 31 to 30 is the total number here. Blacksmith up for full sender, going to go into the upgrades for the archers 9 units now, fletching and defense eventually. Juggles meanwhile going into fletching and skirmishers here, so it's obviously expecting archers from Ethiopians, that's what Ethiopians do. And we have some archers forward here taking out one of Juggles' scouts, and this gold is great positioning by full sender here to go straight for the 1 gold that is obtainable for Juggles. Even a tower is justified here now for a sustained forward when Juggles is walled in like this. Some skirms are on point though, they have fletching, and it's just a small group of the archers for now. Scouts and men-at-arms also can't enter through the gate here. There's lots going on right now, and finally full sender will be looking at a point of entry here. 1 villager down, 33 is the villager count overall now. We have some flares on the map. Juggles apparently, or I don't know who flared this, but flaring some openings here could be a nudge to just come in and enter and finish me off, huh? Interesting. I'd like to hear the reasoning for that flare later at some point. Hopefully just some friendly taunting and no toxic behavior here. 1 villager down for Juggles, trying to fight off men-at-arms with villagers and skirmishers here. And what value full sender is getting from the forward here with men-at-arms and a few archers and scouts and whatever here. 33 to 36 is the villager count now. Full sender full walled double ranges, lots of farms, and yeah, investing into the feudal age now though. Going to play this full feudal for a while yet. Six skirms against 6 archers here now should be Juggles' battle to win, but then there's a scout here as well that needs to be dealt with ASAP. Juggles does not have any answer to that for the time being. The only military of Juggles being 6 military, whereas Full Sender is now with 14 total. Yeah, scouts doing work here, almost being let in through the gate here, and another villager pick off for Full Sender. Juggles completely on the defensive here now with slabs, but lots of farms working though, so it's not completely out of the question that Juggles will be the first one to the castle age here. Might struggle a bit for gold for the click up, but the skirms behind the walls are doing work here as well. Have to commend the Juggles for the defensive play here, even taking some losses along the way to be able to keep somewhat consistent income and extend the farming eco to a larger one that Full Sender has at home. Slabs farms work faster as well, and there is the cast age click for Juggles. Full Sender going to extend the feudal pressure here now with the forward tower, covering both stones and golds and a little bit of farming here. I'm assuming another tower will be going up here as well if Full Sender has the stone to back it, which is the case here. 3 on stone now should be enough for another tower very soon here, and if this gold gets towers, there's not much Juggles can do in the castle age. Won't be able to afford knights, will not be able to afford men-at-arms, long swordsmen, or archers of their own, or siege. It's going to be really tough here unless Juggles is somehow able to get the town center up in the middle, being the first to the castle age here. Which actually is not an option either, because Juggles doesn't have stone income for the time being. Heavily committing to stone now, so just to me either to stress up a TC or to try and get the defensive castle up. And then seeing faster shooting Ethiopian archers at work here. We have 12 archers here, 12 or 13, and some villagers building a tower, and Juggles is now officially completely off gold. Has the wood on almost the stone for a TC though, so we could see some kind of migration to the middle here from Juggles, but with the army presence of Full Sender here, that's not going to be an easy task to accomplish. 23 to 6 military, KD 17 to 17, here comes the defensive siege. Probably the best call now, but Juggles being completely off gold will have to sell food now to afford any siege production from the workshop, and with 25 military total from Full Sender here now, Full Sender could actually take this game home with playing full feudal. Is there a prize pool? No, not for this iteration of small tourneys. They have it in the works. There's another one going to come after New Year though, and if someone donates something or some such, there might be, but this one is no prize pool. Still a strong forward from Full Sender here. We have 15 to 5 military here, and Juggles getting severely idled here. Going for stones and wood again, it seems. But now with 6 archers and a couple of scouts inside the base, it's not looking pretty for Juggles here. 48 to 36 villagers. Full Sender completely safe at home, still spending into archers, getting to the castle age as well. And the overall eco looking pretty bright as well. Looks to me like Chuggles is desperate for the stone for a defensive castle to try and keep the pressure out. Military numbers is going to be the hugest issue here though. It's 17 to 1 right now, 19. And Castle just around the corner for full center. That could be the GG moment because Chuggles is being denied of so many core resources here. Can't take the stone over here. Has stone in the back fortunately, but needs to extend again to get the wood. And now we have an exposed wood line here for Chuggles to be punished by Full Sender's scouts and archers. Look at Full Sender keeping some track of the middle here as well. Keeping some positioning in the middle to make sure that Chuggles hasn't somehow gone into the middle as well. Stone count almost supporting a forward castle here now. A forward castle on Chuggles. Gold that you see here maybe would be something, or simply just secure the middle for the longer run here, but Full Center with twice the population now in the Castle Age, and more villagers as well, more armies, 17 to 2. So look at the production tab as well, consistent production, crossbow and defense coming in for Full Sender. Chuggles sees the castle about to go up, albeit even with only 2 villagers. It's going to be so hard for Chuggles to push back with the current eco situation, having almost no resources whatsoever here. Mainly focusing on stone, but not enough stone for a defensive castle. This is where the set ends. Congratulations to Full Sender for winning the Small Tourneys AOE 2 Gold Division. $35-32 KD, pretty even, but army being the significant number here. Also the villager high for Full Sender, securing the base and stopping the early pressure easily from Chuggles. Eco's not that dissimilar in terms of food and wood, but gold obviously a huge issue. Chuggles with a worse map draw here, and this was Full Sender's home map after all, so impressive playing on their home map. Did have a good strat thought through for Ethiopians here. You see the army tab here in Full Sender in full control here with the army numbers throughout the game. So that's it for Small Tourneys. I'm going to continue casting some submitted games I got from several players. But before that, I have an announcement to make about a tournament I'm hosting to come. 1v1 tournament, which I've named Open Season. It's like I've been running, or I'm closing out a Nomad 1v1 tournament I'm holding recently. I love Nomad, but I also love open land maps, preferably with as little walling as possible. So I named it Open Season. We have maps like Arabia, Serengeti, Dust, Acropolis. So we have 10 maps total, and it will be starting February 1st. We have a long way to go for the sign-up deadline. You will find the Discord link below my stream here. !Discord as well should show up, and I will be making an announcement for Reddit and AOE Zone as well as soon as I have all the details settled. But in my Discord there is a preliminary guidebook for the tournament to check out, so feel free to sign up anytime. I also have a prize pool for this one.